I am back with another video since the start of this escalation on Wednesday morning between Tigray Defense Force and Ethiopian Federal Regional Forces. I've been trying to keep you updated and well informed. We'll try to cover this conflict neutrally, viewers. We'll try to cover developments from both sides. So whether viewers are supporters of Tigray or Ethiopian government, they'll find balanced coverage of this conflict on this channel. Speaking the truth is the biggest service I think which we can do. Taking sides does not solve problems. Firstly, we have a new story about an attack on WFP warehouses in Mekelle, Tigray's capital. Stephen Dujarric is UN Secretary General's spokesperson. He has confirmed in a video, just in a press briefing just a few hours ago, that Tigray forces today attacked WFP World Food Program warehouses in Mekelle. What happened? What did Tigray forces steal from these warehouses? Secondly, Birhanu Jula, Ethiopian Army Chief Field Marshal, was interviewed by a YouTube channel, EMS Today, Ethiopian Media Services. There he spoke about the claim by Ethiopian forces that a plane carrying arms for Tigray fighters had been shot down by Ethiopian forces. He spoke about TDF's preparations as well for this war, and he spoke a little about losses and gains so far since the start of this conflict today. We have details for you of Birhanu Jula's interview. Firstly, viewers, Tigray forces today on Wednesday, because when I'm recording this video, we are in Thursday. On Wednesday, Tigray forces attacked World Food Program warehouses in Mekelle. We know that the aid, food aid, which arrives in Tigray by road or by air, is stored in Tigray's capital, Mekelle. There are large warehouses full of food aid with the fuel tankers as well, where this fuel and aid are stored. And then from Mekelle, this aid is supplied to entire Tigray. What happened is that World Food Program warehouses were attacked by Tigray forces. It is not being claimed by Ethiopian government. Rather, Stephen Dujarric, who is UN Secretary General spokesperson, he confirmed in a press briefing that on Wednesday morning, WFP warehouses were attacked by Tigray forces in Mekelle, and Tigray fighters stole 6 fuel tankers with 570,000 liters of fuel. He condemned this attack, this stealing of fuel. He said the fuel was in store for delivery of aid to far off areas of Tigray, delivery of fertilizers, delivery of seeds, delivery of food aid. But this fuel, which was required for humanitarian operations by humanitarian organizations in Tigray, has been looted by Tigray forces, obviously for their military operations. We have a clip for you of Stephen Dujarric. You can clearly hear that he is saying that Tigray forces stole 12 fuel tankers of WFP today in Mekelle. Take a listen to what Stephen Dujarric said today a few hours ago.
And just an example of what the impact of the renewed fighting is having. This morning on August 24th, a World Food Program warehouse in Mekelle was forcibly entered by Tigrayan forces who took 12 fuel trucks, tankers, with 570,000 liters of fuel. The team on the ground successfully tried to prevent this looting. These stocks of fuel were to be used solely for humanitarian purposes, with the distribution of food, fertilizer, and other emergency relief items. This loss of fuel will impact humanitarian operations in supporting communities in all of northern Ethiopia. We condemn any looting or confiscation of humanitarian goods or humanitarian premises. And we call on all parties to uphold their obligations under international humanitarian law and to respect humanitarian personnel, activities, assets, and
A disaster is unfolding for the people of Tigray, viewers, because they have already been facing a shortage of food. Now, all resources in Tigray, government resources, local, private resources, they'll be diverted towards this war. People who have been dying of hunger, of starvation, they'll face hard times in coming days. So that is why we have been warning that this war should come to an end. People in Tigray will suffer, and gradually, if this war spreads, you'll see that people in Amhara, Afar regions will also face the consequences. That is what we saw last year, that the war which was in Tigray spread into Amhara, Afar, and large parts of Ethiopia were they faced what Tigray faced. Let's see. A second was Birhanu Jula, Ethiopian Army Chief Field Marshal, was interviewed by EMS today. EMS is a YouTube channel, Ethiopian Media Services. If you remember, a few months ago, ESAT journalists resigned and they announced to establish a new satellite TV channel by the name of EMS. And back then, they created a YouTube channel by the name of EMS. And if you remember, Birhanu Jula was interviewed on EMS a few months ago by Mekelle, Ethiopian journalist who has said goodbye to journalism. Mekelle is no more a journalist. He has said goodbye to this profession. He interviewed Birhanu Jula a few months ago. Once again, today, Birhanu Jula was interviewed by EMS, an audio interviewed. He was traveling in a car when he was being interviewed. What did he say? Firstly, he said that Ethiopian National Defense Force has been aware of TDF's preparations for a new war. And for almost 2 weeks, before 2 weeks, ENDF came to know that TDF was making preparations for a new military offensive. So it's not something which has happened out of the blue. ENDF is prepared. So he is saying ENDF is prepared. It's not a sudden attack for Ethiopian National Defense Force. And ENDF is well prepared to counter this onslaught. Secondly, he said that he wanted peace, but Tigray fighters had forced Ethiopian National Defense Force to be involved in this war. Thirdly, he spoke about today's gains and losses, though not in detail. He just said that Tigray forces today suffered losses and ENDF repelled all the attacks launched by Tigray regional fighters, and that large number of Tigray fighters had been killed. No details though. Where were they killed? How many were they killed? On which fronts were offensive repelled? No details. Just a general claim that TDF is suffering losses in the war started this morning. Then he was questioned about the claim by Ethiopian forces that Ethiopian forces shot down a plane carrying weapons for Tigray fighters. He said that the plane was shot down at 10 p.m. On the night between Tuesday and Wednesday. The plane flew from an airport in Sudan. It tried to enter Ethiopian airspace. He further said that Ethiopian government would seek explanation from Sudanese government. Why is that from Sudanese airspace a plane tried to breach Ethiopian airspace? Secondly, he mentioned the type, the model of the plane as well. He said it was Antonov 26. Antonov is a military transport plane used for transportation of logistics. Question is, which countries are using Antonov in this region? Does a Sudanese military use Antonov or Antonov 26? Are Antonov 26 in the service of Egyptian forces as well? Because if you remember, Ridwan Hussein said in his statement that the plane belonged to Ethiopian traditional enemies. So fingers were being pointed towards Egypt and Sudan. Now, what we have learned is that Egypt does not operate Antonov 26. Antonov 26 is operated by Sudanese forces. Several Antonov 26 are in the service of Sudanese forces. It means that it wasn't an Egyptian plane. He did not share further details about this incident, but Ethiopian government, Ethiopian National Defense Force, they are maintaining this position that they shot down a plane which tried to breach Ethiopian airspace. What was on board this plane? Again, question is arms or some individuals or some other logistics. It's not clear. Thank you for watching.